Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the amount of information that's out there about osteoporosis and bone health? Whether you've just gotten a diagnosis of osteoporosis or you've had it and been researching osteoporosis for a while, it can be overwhelming and in some ways even paralyzing. You might find yourself wondering what you should do. What should you really be doing? And if you aren't doing everything that you think you're supposed to be doing, then it might be easier to just throw in the towel and stop doing anything. Today, we're going to talk about 3 things that you should prioritize doing with osteoporosis and how to reduce the overwhelm. I'm Sarah, and I'm a 500-hour trained yoga teacher with additional training that's specific to osteoporosis and yoga. I'm also a BoneFit certified fitness instructor and a nutritional health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I am on a mission to reduce the number of osteoporotic fractures, and I'm glad to have you join me in the journey to better bone health. The first thing on my list of things to do with osteoporosis is to learn to move safely. When I did my BoneFit training, I learned that there's a common physical therapy term for this. It's referred to as sparing the spine. Sparing your spine means moving in a way that prevents your spine from coming into a rounded shape as you sit or do tasks in your everyday life. There are 2 basic methods that you can use to adapt your movements in safe ways. They're the hip hinge and the golfer pickup. In this little video clip, you can see me using a modified version of the golfer pickup to pick my purse up off the ground. Notice how I come into a slight twist with my torso, reaching with the opposite arm to the leg that I have in front to pick my purse up and to keep my spine from rounding. In this next little clip, notice how I have my legs slightly wider than hip width apart. Then, as I bend my knees, it provides me room to fold from my hips and to keep my spine from coming into a rounded shape as I dig around in my freezer. Both of these methods can be adapted in numerous ways to keep the spine safe. I actually have a series of videos on this channel that shows some different ways to spare the spine. And if you'd like to check some of them out, here's a link to do just that. The most common osteoporotic fractures are compression fractures in the spine. Compression fractures are generally caused by the way that we hold and move our bodies around. Having good posture makes a huge difference when it comes to preventing compression fractures. Compression fractures are the easiest fractures to prevent, and we do this by moving safely and sparing our spines. If you never do anything else on the side of prevention, learning to move safely will make a difference, and it's the number 1 thing that I would prioritize doing with osteoporosis and bone loss. The second thing that I would prioritize with osteoporosis is to look at nutrition for bone health. Our bodies need the right nutritional building blocks to make everything else that we do to improve our bones, be it exercise, hormones, pharmaceuticals, supplements, whatever it is, it makes all of those things more effective. It's also important to understand that there isn't just one right way to eat for bone health. There are foods that are going to be more appealing to you than others. Each of us have different nutritional needs, and we feel better eating in slightly different ways. That's okay. There are a variety of food and supplement choices that will all work well. This isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Eating in a bone-healthy way isn't necessarily intuitive. If you're used to eating a basically healthy diet, it might not be readily apparent if you happen to have some nutritional deficiencies. But the bones, our bones, they always know it. Our bones actually function as storehouses for our bodies, holding minerals, proteins, and other nutrients. When our bodies need something that they don't have, they will take it out of our bones, leaving our bones depleted while we have no idea. This is actually why osteoporosis is known as a silent disease. It's because it sneaks up on us unaware with no outward warning signs. Throughout our lives, our bones go through a remodeling process. Our bodies are actually constantly building new bone. We get new bone cells and we sweep the old ones away. And about every 10 years, our bodies actually give us a completely new skeleton. This means that how we eat today can have a significant impact on the health of our bones tomorrow. Since nutrition is so personal, I encourage you to ask your doctor to check on your vitamin and mineral levels. This can be done with a combination of both blood and urine tests. This information will help you to understand what your body actually needs and to help you make dietary changes accordingly. It's also helpful to work on improving gut health to improve how well we absorb the nutrients that we consume. This means including a combination of both prebiotic and probiotic or fermented foods in our regular diets. Prebiotic foods are plant foods that provide food for the microorganisms that live in our guts. Prebiotics help our bones to absorb calcium and phosphorus, which our bodies need to build strong, healthy bones. Some foods that have prebiotics in them include garlic, onions, leeks, tomatoes, asparagus, artichokes, sprouted kidney beans and lentils, sprouted grains like barley, oats, and rye, dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, and honey and maple syrup. Probiotics are good bacteria that live in our guts, mouths, urinary tracts, vaginas for women, our skin, and our lungs. In our guts, probiotics help to improve digestion and to keep our bodies in balance and stop bad bacteria from taking over in our guts. Probiotics are found in fermented foods such as yogurt with live cultures, butter and soft cheeses like cottage cheese that have been cultured, raw cheeses like Parmesan Reggiano, miso, kombucha, kimchi, pickles, and sauerkraut. The third thing that I would prioritize doing is exercise that will help you both to reduce fractures and to strengthen your bones for the long term. A well-rounded exercise program for osteoporosis should include daily regular balance practice, strengthening exercises, and some amount of flexibility practice. Balance is a really interesting thing to consider. Balance practice helps to improve our reflexes and to reduce the likelihood of having a fall, which is a major thing because if we're less likely to fall, then we're also less likely to have a major life-changing fracture like a hip fracture. Balance also helps us to build strategic strength. When we come into balance, our tummy muscles actually have to work to hold us up. This strengthens our tummy muscles, which in turn strengthens our postural muscles and helps provide long-term support for our spines. This adds up to a whole lot of good. We need to build strength because having strong muscles means that our muscles are pulling on our bones, and that signals our bodies to reinforce that particular area that's being used with more strong, healthy bone. Strength is really the key to bone formation. Flexibility is helpful to develop because it helps us to move safely and to bend from the hip. Flexibility facilitates being able to tie our shoes and trim our toenails safely. Being flexible also helps to reduce all forms of injury. When we stretch, it increases the serotonin that our bodies produce, helping to create a sense of calm and peace, which can in turn help to reduce stress and anxiety that often accompany osteoporosis. Reducing stress helps our bodies to better digest the foods that we eat, and it also has a positive effect on our bone health. And I am all about positive effects on our bone health. There's a lot of information out there about bone health, and it can be totally overwhelming. But don't let it be. Take things one step at a time, literally and figuratively. Work on implementing one thing and then the next thing. Master safe movement before you move on to working on either nutrition or exercise. At each step, go at the pace that's right for you. That might look like learning to cook a little bit differently before you add in something else. And that's okay. We can all only do what we can do in a day, and stressing out about what you didn't get to doesn't help you. Keeping in mind where you're going and what you're working on is important, but only to keep your goals in mind and not to create stress or guilt. Life has enough stress and guilt to go around, and we do not need any more when we're working on improving our bone health. I hope these three things, safe movement, better nutrition, and exercise for bone building, help to simplify feelings of overwhelm and help you to approach improving your bone health in an approachable way. If you find them helpful, please share this video with someone that you know and love that will also benefit from this information. And on that note, I look forward to talking with you soon.